It started on a Wednesday. Not that days meant anything out here in the black void of space, but Earth-born Marines still kept track. It made them feel grounded, like the days before everything turned into orbital strikes and alien war fronts. Corporal. Devin Marek leaned back in the drop pod, boots braced, eyes half shut. He'd done this 100 times. The silent drop through atmospheric friction, the sudden pull of gravity, and then chaos. It never got easier, but it always felt familiar. Next to him, Private Lynn was muttering again, barely loud enough to be heard over the quiet hum of the descent boosters. Heard this planet's crawling with Ralkorians, big scaled bastards, 8 feet tall, teeth like bone saws. Devin snorted. They all got teeth. Doesn't mean they know how to use 'em. Still, Lynn said, fidgeting with his rifle. They say the war chief of this region, name's Krerthak or something, he's been calling humans soft meat. Brags about peeling Marines.
Open like fruit. Devin cracked his neck and smirked. Then let's make sure he chokes on a pit.
The light above them blinked from red to green. The pod trembled. 5 seconds to contact. This was it. Another hellhole. Another jungle moon. Another cleansing operation. The brass called it liberation, but everyone knew the truth. The Ralkorians had taken colony after colony, carving messages into corpses, dragging survivors into slave pits. Soft meat, they said. Easy prey, not this time. The pod hit the surface with a thundering crunch, metal legs bracing the shock. The door hissed open, and the air was thick, wet, like breathing soup. Trees towered high, leaves like blades, glowing fungi pulsing in the undergrowth. Ralkorian jungle. Perfect place to vanish if you're dumb enough to think humans are weak. They fanned out. Small unit, recon extermination. Orders were clear. Find the war chief, end him loud, make a message. The first few hours were quiet. Too quiet. Even the local bugs stayed hidden. Lynn kept glancing over his shoulder. Devin knelt by a track. Deep claw prints, maybe hours old. Blood smeared nearby. Not human. Ralkorian. Looks like someone's already bleeding, he muttered. Then they heard it. A low, guttural growl, like rocks grinding in a blender. The jungle shivered. Trees shifted. From the brush, 2 hulking shadows emerged. Ralkorians! Contact front! Lynn shouted. Gunfire erupted. Devin dropped one with a clean burst to the throat. The other charged, 4 arms swinging a war axe longer than Devin's whole body. Lynn froze. Devin tackled him out of the way, rolled, and fired again. 3 rounds, right eye. The creature collapsed in a spasm. Lynn was shaking. Holy shit. That one almost got me. Devin helped him up, scanning the tree line. Then stopped standing like a deer in high beams. They're not gods, just ugly with too many teeth. They moved fast after that. No more slip-ups. Something was wrong, though. The tracks were leading somewhere. Like bait. Like the war chief wanted to be found, and they found him. Krerthak stood in the ruins of a human outpost, bodies staked like trophies. He didn't flinch as the team approached. Instead, he smiled, rows of jagged teeth glistening. Humans, he said in a thick, growling tongue. Soft meat, fragile bones. I will tear open your chests and wear your hearts. Devin stepped forward, calm. Funny. You talk a lot of shit for someone about to get their jaw broken. Krerthak laughed, stepping down from his throne of corpses. Try meat, Try and survive one blow. He lunged, and Devin moved faster than he ever had in his life. Krthak's leap should have been impossible to dodge. 8 feet of armored muscle, claws extended, coming in like a meteor. But Devin wasn't thinking. He just moved. He dropped low, slid across the muddy floor, and felt the rush of wind as those claws missed his head by an inch. The war chief landed hard, spun with unnatural speed, and swung his massive axe in a wide arc. Devin raised his rifle, too slow. The axe came crashing down, but it didn't hit flesh. Private Lin, shaking but steady, fired 3 precise rounds that slammed into the war chief's shoulder. It staggered him just enough for Devin to roll clear and dive behind a shattered wall. Lin, suppression fire! On it! The jungle erupted in noise. The other Marines opened up, bullets, plasma rounds, and railgun slugs tearing through the trees. But Krthak didn't flinch. He took the hits, roared like a beast unleashed, and charged again, this time toward Lin. Shit! Devin grabbed a piece of twisted rebar from the rubble and sprinted. The sound of his own breathing drowned everything else. Krthak was inches from Lin, already mid-swing, ready to split him in 2. Devin jumped, screaming, and drove the rebar straight into the side of the alien's jaw. There was a wet crack. Krthak recoiled, roaring not in triumph, but in agony. Blood, thick, black, and bubbling, poured from the side of his mouth. The lower half of his jaw dangled, shattered at the hinge, twitching and useless. Soft.
Meat? Devin snarled, breathing heavy. Bitch, you just got your jaw rocked by a steel pipe.
Krthak tried to speak, but only a bubbling gurgle came out. He backed away, one hand pressed to his face, the other swinging wildly. His pride had taken the first hit. Worse than the physical damage. The myth of the invincible war. Chief had been broken with one brutal strike. The other Ralkorians saw it too. They'd been circling, waiting for the humans to fall. But now they hesitated. Some even stepped back. Their leader, the one who had boasted of ripping open soldiers like fruit, was drooling blood and barely standing. Devin looked around, chest heaving. His voice boomed out across the clearing. This
is what happens when you underestimate us. You think we're soft meat. We're the monsters your mothers warned you about. Silence. Then Lin raised his weapon, smirking. Tell 'em, Corporal. The rest of the team closed in, surrounding.
The war chief, weapons locked. Krthak looked around, breathing ragged, snarling like a cornered animal. He lunged again, reckless, desperate, big mistake. Sergeant Cole, the squad's heavy gunner, stepped out from behind a crumbled wall and unleashed a plasma burst straight into the war chief's chest. The impact lifted Krthak off his feet and slammed him back into the dirt. He didn't get up. Devin walked over, bent down beside the dying alien. Krthak's one good eye looked up, wide with fury. And
Fear? You called us weak, Devin whispered.
You should have listened when your scouts stopped coming back. Then with a calm he didn't feel, he stood and turned to the rest of the team. Clean up the bodies, mark the site, and broadcast this footage to every Ralkorian channel UT
can access. I want them to see this. Lin blinked. You want to taunt them? No, Devin said.
I want them to understand what they started, and what's coming for them now. The jungle was still. The team worked fast, tagging corpses, gathering intel, setting charges. But something had shifted. The fear that used to follow them into these missions, gone, replaced with something else, something cold, something loud. Rage. Devin lit a smoke as the dropship arrived for exfil. Above them the stars burned bright. Below, Krerthak's body lay torn and twitching, a broken warning for any alien arrogant enough to call humanity soft meat. And somewhere, far from this planet, more war chiefs would see that footage and reconsider their next move. These footage went viral across the known sectors in under 18 hours. Every Ralkorian outpost, every comms channel, every war tent, they all got the same encrypted feed, grainy helmet cam footage of a human unit outgunned, outnumbered, and still wrecking the infamous Krerthak. The last few seconds of the video froze on Devin's blood-smeared face, glaring straight into the lens as he lit a cigarette, with the war chief's body twitching behind him. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. The silence spoke. Back.
Aboard the Vindicator, orbiting above the planet they just cleaned, the atmosphere was electric. Some Marines were laughing, some still shaking off the adrenaline, and others just watching that clip on repeat like it was a religious experience. Man, Lynn muttered, slumped against a crate. You really put that bastard down like a rabid dog. Devin didn't answer.
He was sitting alone, back to the wall, staring at a dented knife in his hand, Krerthak's blood still crusted on the blade. Sergeant Cole walked over, nodding toward the blade. Souvenir? Devin shrugged. Reminder. Of what? That. We're just getting started. Cole paused, chewing that over. Well, about that. He dropped a hollow slate in Devin's lap. The screen flickered, loading classified intel, names, maps, coordinates, symbols of the Ralkorian High Command. That stunt you pulled? It rattled the wrong nests, or the right ones, depending on how much you like suicide missions. Devin scrolled the file. Multiple war chiefs, all of them higher ranked than Krerthak, all of them now calling for a full retaliation, not just on human colonies, but on Earth itself. They think we're a threat now, Cole said, half smirking. That's new, Devin tossed the slate back. Then we hit them first. Lynn overheard his voice rising. Wait, you want to go to them? That's suicide, man. You saw what it took to take down one of those freaks. You think we can just storm their capital and live to brag about it? Devin stood. No, I don't want to storm anything. He grabbed a metal rod, twirled it once, and smacked it hard into a locker, the loud clang echoing.
I want to burn it. I want them to watch their war gods fall one by one. I want them to start checking under their beds for humans. The room fell silent. Even Cole didn't say anything because they all felt it now. That shift. This wasn't
defense anymore. This was a hunt. Later that night, as the ship cruised toward the next sector, Devin stood in front of the viewport, staring at the stars. He lit another cigarette, eyes fixed on the pulsing dot labeled Sector X7 Ralkorian territory. Behind him, the AI assistant spoke in a calm tone. New orders uploaded, Corporal Marek. Mission codename, Operation Jawbreaker. Devin smirked. Fitting, he turned to walk away when the lights flickered, just for a second. Then again, the ship rumbled, red lights began to pulse, an alarm echoed through the corridors. Unidentified vessel approaching, no transponder, high-speed vector. Lynn's voice crackled over comms. Devin, you seeing this? Something's coming in fast. Devin didn't even flinch. He was already moving. The Ralkorians had seen the footage. Now they were coming for him. Good, he'd been hoping for round 2. The ship rocked hard, not from impact but from something slicing through nearby space like a blade through silk. Devin braced against the corridor wall as the red lights pulsed faster. His boots thudded against the floor, the kind of running that meant combat, not panic. He slid into the central ops room just as Lynn burst in from the other side, wild-eyed
and out of breath. They didn't even knock, Lynn gasped. Just ripped through our outer escort like tissue. No hail, no signature, just... He gestured vaguely. Death with engines. Cole was already there, pulling up tactical readings. It's not a ship, not a normal one anyway. It's got cloaking tech we've never seen before. Stealth. Patterns shifting like it's organic. Organic? Devin snapped. You telling me that thing is alive?
Not fully, hybrid, bioengineered, some kind of prototype, probably a gift from their high command, special delivery. For us, Lynn muttered. For you, Cole corrected, glancing at Devin. They saw what you did, now they're answering. With their best monster, the AI voice returned, calm as ever. Hull breach in Bay 3, life forms detected, estimated count 5, not Ralkorian standard units, unidentified variants. Devin cracked his neck. Then we give 'em a proper Earth.
Welcome.
He led the charge. Bay 3 was dark when they arrived. Emergency lights cast long shadows across crates and shattered panels. Something had melted through the doors, not blasted or cut, but melted, like acid had chewed its way in. Then the smell hit. Burnt ozone.
Rotten meat. And something metallic, like blood on rusted iron. Cole whispered. Something's breathing in here, you feel it? Devin nodded. Yeah, it's watching us. Movement. Fast, low to the ground, then a second shape darted past.
The other way. The teams spread out, scanning, tense, and then one of them dropped from the ceiling. It landed on Private Halverson, claws already buried in his back. He didn't even scream, had just twitched, then went limp as the thing dragged.
Him into the shadows. Lights!
Devin roared. Flashbangs popped, flooding the bay with light. That's when they saw them. The creatures were humanoid, but only barely. Taller than Ralkorians, with stretched, sinewy limbs and glowing eyes. Their skin rippled like it was hiding. Something underneath. They wore partial armor. Maybe once Ralkorian, but now twisted, modified, fused to their bodies. And none of them had mouths, just jagged scars where their jaws had been ripped off. Lynn choked. "What the f—" Cole grunted. "Message received." One of the creatures roared, not from its mouth, but through its chest, a horrible guttural vibration. The sound slammed into them like a shockwave. Lynn staggered, bleeding from one ear. Devin didn't flinch. He raised his rifle, aimed at the creature's exposed throat, and emptied a full clip. It dropped. Another lunged. Devin sidestepped, slammed his knife into its side, twisted, and shoved it into an exposed power conduit. The body convulsed as electricity tore through it. They moved like nightmares. Fast, silent, unrelenting, and yet killable, which meant one thing. "You see this?" Devin shouted over the comms, slicing another down. "They're scared. They tried to send a warning, but they messed up." He grabbed one of the fallen hybrids and held it up by its armor, showing it to the squad. They
think monsters scare us. They think this is enough to break us.
He dropped the corpse and stepped forward into the bay, boots crunching over alien bones. "We are the monsters now." One final hybrid tried to flee, sprinting toward the melted exit. Lynn fired. One shot, back of the head. "Not today," the
room fell silent again. Just the hum of the ship and the blood dripping from their gear.
Devin stared at the carnage. They didn't send assassins to kill him, they sent a warning, but he wasn't in the business of listening to threats. He answered them. The cleanup took hours. Bay 3 looked like hell, spat it back up. The walls were scorched.
Metal warped from plasma bursts, and the floor was a swamp of fluids, red, black, and whatever color those hybrid freaks bled. Medical drones zipped around, scanning remains. No survivors, no prisoners, just death. But Devin couldn't shake
The feeling that it wasn't over. Back in the ops room, Cole was silent, just watching the footage on loop. The hybrids moved like ghosts, silent but efficient. Designed for one thing, kill Devin Marek, so they're making custom assassins now, Lynn muttered, nursing a stitched gash on his arm. That's gotta be flattering, right? Devin didn't laugh. His eyes were on one thing, a mark on one of the hybrid's armor plates. It wasn't a standard Ralkorian sigil. It was older, worn, something he hadn't seen since his first deployment, back when Earth was barely holding on to its outer colonies. Pause, he said. Zoom on that mark. The AI did. The sigil sharpened. It wasn't Ralkorian. It was Terran. Black Ops designation from Earth's own military archives. Buried, classified, forgotten. Cole leaned forward. No way. It's Earth Tech, Devin said. Old Black Research Division, experimental biotech, banned after the Venus outbreak. But that was decades ago. Exactly. Which means someone kept it alive, quietly. Fed it. Lynn's voice cracked. Wait, are you saying we made those things? Devin stood slowly, like realization was dragging him up by the spine. No, not we. Someone else. Someone human. Someone who gave that tech to the Ralkorians. There was silence. Then the AI chimed in again. Incoming encrypted transmission. Origin unknown. It is not Ralkorian. Devin nodded. Put it through. The screen flickered. Static. Then a hooded figure.
No face.
Just a symbol behind them. That same Black Ops sigil. They spoke in a calm, accented voice. Male, human, cold. You made a mistake, Corporal Marek. You were never supposed to survive the jungle. Kreathak was our test. And you failed because you lived? Devin didn't blink. Who are you? The voice ignored him. Now you've attracted attention. You've stirred fire into a war that was never meant to end. The hybrids were just the beginning, Cole growled. You're working with the Ralkorians? No, the voice replied. We're using them, just like we used you. Devin stepped forward, teeth clenched. You think I'm just going to let that slide? The hooded figure chuckled, low and grim. You're not supposed to let anything slide. We want you angry. We want you violent. Because when you burn across the stars, everyone else will beg for us to clean up the mess. And then the screen went black. No trace, no signal, just silence. Devin turned away, fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. This wasn't just war anymore, he muttered. This is a setup. A false flag? Lynn asked, pale. Worse, Cole said.
A puppet show, and we're dancing in someone else's fire. Devin looked up, jaw tight. Not anymore.
He pulled the emergency override, opened the secured weapons locker, the one marked unofficial use only, and grabbed a rifle humanity wasn't even supposed to admit existed. Tell command we're going dark, he ordered. We're going off-grid, Lynn hesitated. And go where? Devin turned, his voice low and burning. To hunt the traitor wearing a Terran face. They called it Ghost Space, uncharted, unmapped, and supposedly abandoned. A stretch of deep void between Ralkorian territory and the edge of Terran influence. Officially? Nothing was out there. No signals, no colonies, just cold, silent space. Unofficially, that's where things disappeared. Entire freighters, scout ships, war criminals, and, according to Devin's gut and the ghost in the transmission, maybe even the Black Ops freaks playing God with Ralkorian DNA. The Vindicator had been stripped to bare bones. No beacon, no official logs, no pingback to Earth command. They were flying blind. By choice. "You sure about this?" Lynn asked, standing beside the observation deck, watching stars twist like broken glass. Devin didn't look at him. "You saw the footage. Those hybrids were our creations, some dead. Program got brought back to life and handed over to the enemy. I'm not letting that slide." Cole joined them, helmet in hand. "You realize what you're saying, right? If we find whoever did this, if they're Terran, we'll be branded traitors just for knowing." Devin finally turned, eyes hard. "Then let them brand us. If Earth's making monsters and blaming aliens, someone has to cut the strings." There was a silence between them. Heavy, final. Then Lynn grinned. "Guess I always wanted to be a fugitive with a kill streak." Cole laughed, low and bitter. "We already are." 2 days into ghost space, they picked up the trail. Faint power readings, encrypted Terran signals buried under Ralkorian code. Someone was masking transmissions, bouncing them off space junk, camouflaging beneath radiation belts, but not well enough. The AI triangulated the source, a rogue station hidden inside a broken asteroid belt, nestled between 2 collapsed moons. It didn't match any Terran design or Ralkorian. It was something else, like it had been grown, not built. The Vindicator approached under full stealth.
No lights, no signal, just silence, until the message came in. This time, no video, just audio, a woman's voice. "You don't know what you're walking into, Devin. Turn back. This is bigger than revenge." Devin froze. That voice? Juno? Cole looked at him. "Who?" Devin's jaw clenched. "She was one of ours. My squad, KIA 6 years ago, or that's what I was told." The voice continued, softer now. "They lied to you. They lied to all of us. I didn't die. I was recruited, given clearance above Black. I saw what Earth was really doing, and I ran, but it's too late now. You've seen too much." Devin stepped forward. "Juno, where are you?" Silence. Then, "If you dock, you won't be the same." "None of us are." The signal cut. The asteroid loomed ahead, massive, hollowed out. Lights pulsed from inside, not artificial lights.
They pulsed like veins. Cole muttered, "We shouldn't go in there." But Devin was already grabbing his rifle. Open the bay, they docked. The landing was soft, too soft. The moment they stepped onto the station, something felt wrong. The floor was warm, breathing, and then they saw them. Tanks, dozens of them, filled with hybrids in different stages of mutation. Some still looked human. Some were far from it. Lynn stared, whispering, "They're not just making soldiers, they're breeding species." One tank burst, the creature inside, half human, half something else, collapsed onto the floor, gasping. It looked up at Devin. Its eyes were blue, earth blue, and it whispered, "Help me." Then it died. Devin turned to Cole and Lynn, eyes burning. "We end this."
"No survivors, no excuses. This isn't war anymore." He looked down at the corpse. "This is genocide." The alarms didn't scream. They pulsed, a low, throbbing hum that vibrated through the walls of the station like a heartbeat. Red veins of
Bioluminescent light slithered along the ceiling as if alive, reacting to their presence. The floor shifted beneath their boots, not because it was unstable, but because it was awake. Devin raised his rifle. "They know we're here." Cole nodded grimly. "I think they always knew." As they moved deeper into the station, the hallways twisted into something less industrial and more organic. The metal gave way to bone-colored ridges like they were walking through the rib cage of something ancient. Tanks lined the walls, each worse than the last. Some contained infants, others half-human soldiers with tubes in their mouths, twitching violently in their sleep. Then they found the lab, if you could call it that. The room was circular, with a pit in the center. Holograms flickered around it. Data streams, DNA, strands, heat maps, Terran insignias stamped over everything. But it was what stood in the center that froze Devin in his tracks. Juno. She hadn't aged, still had that crooked scar under her lip, still carried her old squad's patch stitched into her sleeve. But her eyes, they weren't the same. They glowed faintly, a soft, silver shimmer, inhuman. "Hey, Dev," she said quietly. "Been a while." He didn't lower his weapon. "Why?" he asked. "Why lie? Why work with them?" She stepped forward slowly, hands open. "Because they weren't the enemy." That thing that tried to carve Lynn open didn't seem like a friend. She sighed. "You think this was all black and white?" "The Ralkorians weren't invading. Not at first. They came because we were testing on their kind, stealing DNA, mixing species, weaponizing life itself. We started this war, Earth did, not them." Devin shook his head. "So you decided to play God, create monsters and set them loose?" "We didn't set them loose," Juno snapped. "We contained them until someone at high command lost control. Now it's chaos, and the hybrids aren't just clones or mistakes." She pointed to one of the tanks. "They're becoming something else, smarter, unified. And if we don't stop it from inside, it won't matter who wins. Human or Ralkorian. Everything dies." Cole stepped forward. "You expect us to believe
Earth was building a bioweapon army and just lost the keys?" Juno met his gaze. "Not lost, given away. Someone sold the research to both sides. Now the war's just a distraction while the real threat grows underneath. Every battle, every dead
soldier? It's feeding them data, evolution. They learn, they adapt." Devin's voice was cold. "Then we shut it down. This place, these labs, all of it." Juno didn't flinch. "You do that and the hybrids will scatter. No control, no failsafe. They'll spread across the galaxy like wildfire." Lynn looked around, wide-eyed. "So either we leave the monsters here, or we risk letting them escape if we blow the place." Devin turned away for a moment, heart pounding in his ears. "This isn't a war anymore," he muttered. "It's a virus." He faced Juno again.
And viruses don't get cured. They get burned out. Juno's face broke. Sadness, fear, maybe even regret. "I hoped you'd understand," she whispered. "I really did." Then she reached for something on her wrist. Cole screamed. "She's triggering the override!" Everything went white. The blast wasn't fire. It was sound, a pulse, like a siren had crawled into their skulls and screamed. Devin hit the floor hard, ears ringing, vision shaking. He scrambled for his rifle, coughing through the pressure building in his chest. Lynn was already throwing up beside him, and Cole was clutching his head, blood leaking from his nose. Across the room, Juno stood untouched, eyes glowing like spotlights, the device on her wrist sparking as it finished its sequence. "You should have left," she said. Her voice didn't echo, it boomed like the station itself was speaking with her. The tanks began to burst. One after another, hybrids spilled out, gasping, shrieking, limbs flailing, dozens, hundreds, not raw, twitching experiments. No, these were finished. Evolved, sleek skin, hardened bone, silent, coordinated movement, and not a single jaw among them. "You broke Krethak's mouth," Juno said, walking slowly toward Devin. That became a symbol to them, a god made of pain. They worship silence now, obedience, purpose. You made them, Devin. You gave them an identity. Devin rose, slow and steady, blood dripping from his lip. "Then I'll be the one to erase it. The hybrids charged." Cole unloaded first. His heavy repeater spraying rounds into the tide, mowing down the front line, buying precious seconds.
Lynn fired next, picking off anything that got too close, but there were too many. The room became a blur of movement and heat, the smell of rot and blood filling the air. Devin ran, straight toward Juno. She didn't even flinch, just raised her hand, some tech glowing. But Devin was faster.
He tackled her to the ground, the two of them crashing into a tank, glass shattering around them, fluid splashed across their faces. Juno clawed at him, not with rage, but desperation. "They're all I have left," she shouted. Devin didn't respond. He just grabbed the detonator on her belt. "You made your choice." Then he slammed the button. The floor shook. Warning sirens, real ones this time, began to scream. The whole station trembled as the fail-safes kicked in. Deep within the asteroid, nuclear cores primed.
Juno froze. "You don't know what you've done."
"I do,"
Devin said. He stood over her, chest rising, jaw clenched. "I ended it." He grabbed Cole and Lynn, and together they sprinted for the evac dock. The hybrids screamed behind them.
Some trying to chase, some clawing at the walls as the walls melted from the inside. Flesh fused with steel. Fire poured from the ceilings. The ship shook as it launched. The explosion that followed wasn't just light. It was like space itself coughed. A silent bloom of fire, debris, and blood-colored ash erupted behind them, consuming the station.
And everything in it. Devin stared from the viewport, his face blank. Lynn leaned forward, watching the fading inferno. "You think that was enough?" "No," Devin said. "But it's a start." Cole cracked his neck. "Earth's not going to take this well."
Devin turned to him. "I'm counting on that." Lynn blinked. "What now?" Devin walked away, voice low. "Now we go back. We dig deeper. We rip out every root this program ever grew. Because the only thing worse than monsters made in labs." He looked over his shoulder, eyes burning, are the people who think they're doing humanity a favor, and with that the ship vanished into the stars. Silent, deadly, human.